It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Tamika Cartwright, and it's Friday. So happy to have you join us today. Today is actually March 21st, and it's World Down Syndrome's Day. That's right. So 3/21, that signifies the triplication of the 21st chromosome, which causes Down syndrome. So something for you to take note of today as we celebrate World Down Syndrome's Day. I hope you all had a wonderful week so far. I know I did. I want to send a special shout out to all the ladies in my book club. It was a book club week. That's right. I'm a part of a book club. It's a great group of ladies. We meet every few weeks. We have a host. That host will pick the book. We'll read. We'll have about 6 weeks to read our book, and then we meet up for an epic time at that individual's house. And we always have so much fun. The place is usually decorated according to the book. The food is on theme, so the ladies do a wonderful, wonderful job. So something to possibly, maybe you want to, get involved in something like that with your friends. It's a great opportunity to socialize, to read, and just be, current with what's going on. So shout out to those ladies. So we've got a great show for you today, but before we get into all that, I want to remind you about the Bahamas Business Outlook. It's taking place in Eleuthera. We're going to be in Central and South Eleuthera on day 1, and then North Eleuthera on day 2. And that's going to be happening on April 3rd and April 4th. To register for those events, you want to check out tcleventsgroups.com. Make sure that you register. We want to see you there on April 3rd and 4th. So we've got a great show happening for you today. We're going to be hearing all about an upcoming panel discussion on grief and dementia. And Father Roderick Bain is here. He's going to be talking about Lent. And we'll also be discussing school policies surrounding bullying with our Law Matters segment. But before all of that, let's take a look at weather with Mr. Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Tommy. Good morning, Bahamas. Your first look at weather at sunrise. We got a weak frontal boundary, a little band now over the South Abaco, Berry Islands, North Andros, moving towards the South Asian Movable Province another hour or two. One or two little spotty showers along that boundary. That should be out the area on New Providence by this afternoon. Central Bahamas and Southeast will dissipate over the weekend. So today, we're looking at some morning clouds with a couple of showers along that frontal boundary, becoming partly sunny and mild by afternoon over the northwest Bahamas, partly sunny over the central and southeastern islands. Your high temperature reaching 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, partly cloudy and cool. The chance of a few showers along the frontal boundary in the southeastern islands. You look going under 67 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean. Barbados 86 and 78. In Jamaica 89 72. In Trinidad 89 77. And the Texan Cape Islands 82 and 71. Across North America, Atlanta 64 and 41. In Boston 46 and 36. In Miami 72 and 65. Dallas, Texas 77 and 53. And Toronto, Canada 46 and 37. As you go to the week, that cold front pass through today. Then high builds across the islands. We shall have some windy incidents just along that frontal boundary, but we shall have those winds increasing by afternoon in the northwest Bahamas. So for the most part, we're looking at partly sunny skies over the weekend with some mild temperature daytime, cool at nighttime. Another front expected sometime late on Tuesday. That puts a wrap on your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to the show.
Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Tamika Cartwright, and we are so excited to be here at the Central Bank of the Bahamas. That's right. They are celebrating their 41st exhibition under the theme All Together Now. And with me now is Mr. John Roll. He is the governor of the Central Bank of the Bahamas. It is so exciting to be here. You need to tell me, what does this exhibition mean to you?
Well, for us, this is a coming out of sort. We had a break in our annual exhibition during the pandemic. While it was still being done online, we now have an opportunity to begin to put those works on exhibition again for the public to enjoy, and also to demonstrate the transformation that has taken place in this competition. Before the pandemic, the art exhibition was largely just paintings, and now it's taking on any of the other forms, music, poetry, videography. And so this is now an opportunity for us to show that range of talent. And we're particularly pleased because we now have a reach with our competition throughout the islands of the Bahamas and an exceptional level of response from students from across the Bahamas.
That's amazing. I mean, not to only be able to have artists from here, but also extending it to the Family Islands.
Well, absolutely, yes. And separate from this, I think what we're very proud about is that this exhibition has always been a place where new talents get seen for the first time, and eventually they go on to become well established in their careers. And so I'm certain that among the works this morning, that there will be some who are going to be new, well-renowned artists in this country.
That's awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations and thank you for everything that you're doing to showcase art in the Bahamas.
Well, thank you. And let me invite the public to please come in and view the exhibition. And if you can, please purchase a piece.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We're here with Mr. Ulrich Bogus, and he is the curator of this special event. Mr. Bogus, welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about this exhibition. I can imagine there's a lot that goes into putting this together, right?
Well, if you will, 41 years went into that exhibition because this is when we started. We started in 1984, and it was really the first art event of that scope in the country.
Wow.
So I always say, notably, the central bank is the oldest cultural institution in the Bahamas.
That's impressive. Very, very impressive. And I mean, there's so many wonderful pieces all around. There are high school students that took part, but there's also the open call, right? So tell us a little bit about why you've combined that.
So until 2015, the competitions were actually combined in one single show.
Okay.
And I think Heino Schmidt, who was the curator at the time, he split them because, again, there was a lot of submissions, and he wanted to just make it a little clearer. And I think that worked. I did the last show of that kind in 2019, just before the pandemic. And now the pandemic has changed quite a bit. So our submissions are now digital. That allowed submissions from the Family Islands, more than we ever expected to come in. And therefore, we thought we have to have another focus. We have another focus on each exhibition. And so we had over 200 submissions, and we curated this show in a way that there is, like, we hope, a meaningful dialogue between maybe a work by Coburn Sands, who is now 16 or 17,
Wow,
who
impressive.
participated here at a high school competition, won the Governor's Choice Award with a sculpture about the penny and monies. Excellent young man, very talented. And so we hope that we create these dialogues between him and, for example, a painting of some artist who already has an international career.
A lot of the kids, they end up getting their first start here, right? So what's next for some of these artists?
Every single artist in the Bahamas somehow stepped into the arena here at the Central Bank. One or the other way, they participated in one of the early competitions, and obviously that makes us proud. And now we are hoping that the new generations will follow in their footsteps. And I'm telling you, obviously, I feel true. I am Bahamian. I'm married to a Bahamian. However, I'm German. I have some outsider view on it, and I don't know why we here in the Bahamas have such amazing talent.
Awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you.
Same here.
Congratulations. This is now open to the public, so everyone can come on out and enjoy, right?
Every day from 9 to 5.
Love that.
Banking
love that.
hours.
Awesome. I'm here now with Alexandria Robinson, and she's the winner of this amazing, amazing piece. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this piece.
So yeah, I was going through a lot of healing over the past few years. I was physically sick, and I started to do some research on how emotional trauma can affect the immune system in the body. So I started reading about certain holistic healing modalities that could kind of help release a lot of trauma within the body.
Okay.
So I started studying and reading about meditation and yoga and drumming. And I started going to this African drum circle that takes place throughout the year in the Bahamas. And as I started going, I started feeling like this tension release. Not only did I feel that happen, I started to feel connected to this history that I feel like I was always trying to search for that connection for throughout my art. So this African history that we are connected to being a colonial diasporic country.
We're so proud of you. Congratulations. And this is the winning piece, right?
Yeah.
For the painting. And I can see why. It's absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're here with Dezon Curry. He is the winner of the Work on Paper category. Dezon, tell us a little bit about your art piece.
So this right here, this is a little watercolor pen, and I put together the other day. I put this in the piece because I needed something for my art piece because it was mandatory for art class.
Okay. And have you taken part in this competition before? Because you are from Exuma, right?
No, mom, it's my first time.
Wow. So what does it mean to be the winner? It's your first time.
It's okay.
And do you normally do art pieces at home?
Not really, not unless I force.
Okay. So this was something you had to do for school and you just submitted it.
Yes, mom.
Wow.
I
Well,
wasn't
lucky.
expecting it.
Well, lucky you. Congratulations. And now your work is up in the central bank. We're here with Carla Campbell. She was one of the artists and she's also an educator. Miss Campbell, tell us a little bit about the inspiration of this piece. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Thank you so much. So this piece is a part of a series that I've been working on that deals with water as power and looking at cotton and the way that ancestry and money and all that things kind of tie in. So at this point in the series, this self-portrait, she is rising up out of the water. She's free. She's shedding all of these things. So it has this joyousness.
Wow. And I can look at this and just see the joy. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm like, how do you paint yourself? Right? Like, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's
well,
amazing.
You know yourself best. You look
Yeah.
in the mirror every day. So what I do is I'm actually my own model. So I'm posing and taking selfies.
Right.
And then I use like the camera to kind of zoom in, that kind of thing. But I'm painting it by hand, no grid method, no projection, just looking at it and painting it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We've had a wonderful time walking around and seeing all the beautiful exhibits from high school students as well as open call artists. We've got everything here from paintings to sculptures. There's even poetry from students here from Nassau as well as the Family Islands. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience, wonderful opportunity. We hope to see you soon.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
I think we should open a bank account for Bradley.
Why? We already have enough bank accounts.
Well, with the boy of age now, he should start learning how to protect his own money.
Protection. At a bank? We can protect our money right in our house.
Mommy, banks have deposit insurance. It'll protect all of your deposits if a bank fails, all the way up to $50,000.
Do you have deposit insurance?
Yes, by simply opening an account with a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if the bank or credit union fails, right? But don't worry. Payouts to depositors will be made promptly.
Insurance is important, and your Bahamian dollar deposits are protected by the Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Okay. Let's go open that account.
To learn more, visit our website at www.dic.bs for more information.
In terms of what is unique about Eleuthera, as somebody that wasn't born and bred here and has only been here for a little while, I find it incredibly unique that it's possible to have beaches and oceans and things as beautiful as this that are as unpopulated as this. And it's something that is tremendously eye-opening and important to people who come here. The other thing that struck me from the day that I got to this island was how unbelievably warm, welcoming and friendly Bahamian people are. So that for me is what's unique and what needs to remain that way is that we don't overpopulate and over, growth, but balanced with conservation.
Welcome back. Grief and dementia are two deeply emotional and challenging experiences that affect many families. To shed some light on the importance of this topic are the St. Barnabas Anglican Church. They are hosting their grief and dementia panel discussion. And with me now to tell us all about it are Father Roderick Bain, Rector, and then also Joanne Hamilton. She's the youth coordinator. And we also have Sharika Burrows from the Family Life. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get right into it. What's the purpose of having this particular event?
The purpose of having this event on grief and dementia, we were given the mandate by our rector to host seminars within the church that we think are fit for the time. And now we came across parishioners who are going through grief at this time and also dealing with family members with dementia. And so they reached out to us seeking for help. So we thought this was a nice time to bring in a panel who would talk on grief and dementia.
That's so nice and so timely and so nice that you're actually meeting the needs too of the individuals in your church. And I mean, tell us a little bit about, grief is something that happens all the time, right? Everyone experiences it at a different time. Dementia, obviously, for some is a little bit, as they age. Tell us just some of the concerns that the parishioners at your church, have and why they want to have this event.
Well, one of the main concerns was dementia that came to us. It's dealing with the stress of dealing with a family member that has dementia, not knowing what to do, no one to speak to. So after hearing about the dementia, we was like, okay, so why not grief? Because they kind of tie in together.
Right. Yeah.
So then we just added grief and dementia.
Yeah, because I think too, with dementia, you almost sort of lose that person, right, along the way.
So
and
then
so
you end up
grieving for that individual as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's great that you all are having that, that discussion. So just tell us a little bit about the time. Like, when is this happening? Who's invited? Who can come? Where is it going to be taking place?
So it's held in St. Barnabas on the 29th of March. That's a Saturday, beginning at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And it's open to everyone.
All right. And is it like a full day thing? Or?
It begins at 9 and we hope to end like around 11:30, 12.
Okay.
So we will have a panel of discussions, which Father will talk about.
All right. And anyone can come from any other parish?
Anyone.
Okay.
It's open to everyone. We all grieve.
Yeah.
We all have family members or know persons who have dementia. So it's open to everyone.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
And then, Father, just tell us a little bit about, what's going to be taking place at the actual event.
Morning, all. Yes, we do hope that at this event we can hear from professionals, along with myself. Dr. Indira Grimes will be there. She deals with, of course, the old folks or the aged, as well as Dr. Lloyd. They all are professionals in their fields to deal with dementia, to deal with persons who are senior, to deal with issues surrounding aging in particular. And I myself, as a priest, a lot of times we have to bury a whole lot of people, there's a lot of deaths. And a lot of persons who are now senior in my church in particular, and in our country really, that they tend to lose themselves with this dementia. And it's just a way to deal with, and so that others, as she said, are able to, deal with whatever their loved ones are going through, so that they don't feel lost, or they don't feel as if, again, another grief is happening while the person is alive. Just the ability to be able to deal with all of that, so that they can get a better sense of how to take care of their loved one as they go through whatever they're going through.
Okay, and the way that this is being set up, it's a panel discussion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so who all is on the panel? Do we know yet?
Yes.
I am Joanne.
Hi,
Joanne, hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good to see you again. Yeah, on that day, we're going to have the professionals there giving us their expertise and how to cope and talk about the different stages in dementia and grief. But they also decided to bring in persons who've experienced this journey with grief and dementia to come and give their testimony, as it will, on how they cope and what do they do to stay grounded. And so I'll be speaking about grief and my journey with grief, if you're so aware. And I'm going to stress that it's a journey. I'm also going to share that no one can tell you how to grieve. And it is something that you have to accept because it's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. But how you grieve makes the difference.
Yeah. And it's important to grieve as well, right?
Very important.
I think some people miss that too. They think, okay, I just have to suck this up. But you have to go through that process for healing purposes, right?
Yes, and we want to stress that there's help. You do not have to sit alone thinking that this is a journey with only me, I have to cope with. There are people there, there are professionals there, there are other persons who could share their experience to act as a support, a village to help you journey through this time.
Yeah, okay. And Father, you mentioned, sometimes we forget, right? We see the priest in church on Sunday, but we forget that, most Saturdays you are burying people. Like, that's how you start your Saturday. For me, I think Saturday, that's my chill day. I go and do my errands, do my grocery, but you have to go through this process of, being with people, surrounding yourself with people that are grieving. How do you handle that?
It was very difficult. Sometimes it's very sobering because it reminds me of my mortality. But it gives me an opportunity to see that life is fragile, passing, and at every moment of it, we must appreciate not only that we're here, but with a Christian hope, believe that we go to a better place. But I do sometimes get pretty emotionally bogged down because at St. Barnabas in particular, we do have sometimes 2 funerals on a Saturday, and you're planning another one for the next Saturday. And it becomes sometimes no space or time for me to even grieve or to sit back and say, wow, I just buried 2 of my parishioners. And then because the next day, Sunday, you're back in church again. And it's a whole lot of emotion sometimes that get involved. But because of my faith, I guess I'm able to rise above and to just see death as a part of life and to allow, the healing grace of God to work in my life. But it can be very, very difficult, very heavy emotionally, and we must accept that that is a part of life. And the priest has to do what the priest has to do, is just to bury, but still give hope in a very, very difficult time to family members.
Yeah, it has to be difficult too, seeing people in your parish, probably know them on a personal level, have seen them kind of go through all the different sacraments and whatnot, and now you come to this stage as well, right? Of having to bury them. So we got to look out for Father too, right? We got to be there to hold your hand, Father.
It's a part of my ministry, my life, really. I've learned how to deal with it, but like I say, it keeps me very sober. The sign of a coffin in church, the sign of a dead person there, says to me that I have but a short time to live, and I too must get myself in order. And while we live, we do what we must, so that at the end of it all, we would have lived a life that is pleasing to God.
Yeah, of course. So how do you think the general public could benefit from the discussions that's going to be taking place at this event?
I think it's very beneficial to everyone because, like we've already said, everyone is going through it. So I think everyone should just come out, listen to the professionals. Let's hear what they have to say. We have, along with Ms. Joanne, we have Ms. Charmaine Sasso, who will be giving her testimony on dementia. We have also Dr. Daniel Lloyd and Dr. Indira Grimes. So we have a lot of professionals on the panels who will give their expertise on this particular topic.
Yeah, I love that. And I love hearing from the professionals, but also from
Yes.
the people that would have experienced it, right? Because they
Exactly.
can give you the nitty-gritty of how to deal with that, right?
Exactly, exactly, yes.
And Joanne, for you, I know you would have gone through grief. What's the one thing that sort of kept you just focused, you know what I mean, throughout that process?
Besides my faith, my village, support, it's so important. You know, we live in a society where we think that we have to present the facade that we have it all together. But when life hits you, like the young people say, when life is lifing, you need that support. You need that village to hold your hand and to carry you through.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean, we are just about out of time. Just tell us again when the event is happening, what time, where.
St. Barnabas, Saturday, March 29, 9 a.m.
All right.
See you there.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having you all on. Good luck with this
Thank you,
event, and
thank
you
you.
for all that you're doing as well in the community.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Be sure to check out the team at St. Barnabas for their grief event that's happening. We'll be right back.
When hurricanes and emergencies strike, timely information can save lives. That's why Alive Business brings you bulk SMS messaging, your essential tool for staying informed and safe. Imagine having critical updates and safety tips delivered right to your phone, anytime and anywhere. With bulk SMS messaging, you can send real-time alerts and updates and timely notifications. When every second counts, count on Alive Business bulk SMS messaging. For more information, contact the experts.
As a professional graphic artist, I work from anywhere in the world. When I travel, I try to keep up with my paperwork and bills as much as possible, utilizing NIB's ESS, or Employee Self-Service Portal, to submit my monthly payments and to upload my contribution statement makes life easier. The portal is pretty easy to use too. I consider it to be user-friendly. It asks all the necessary questions to guide me through uploading my contribution statement, and I like that it calculates my payments. The NIB representative who showed me how to use the portal, she was patient, friendly, and knowledgeable. I used to fill out my contribution statement manually and visit an NIB office every month to make payments. But now the ESS portal allows for the entire process to be completed online in a time-efficient manner. Like, yay, thank you, that's done. You should sign up today at ess@nib-bahamas.com.
At Simplified Lending, we know that your time is precious. So we've unscrambled the loan process, making it fast and hassle-free. You can have your answer in as little as 24 hours. When you qualify, we simplify. We are the best borrowing solution for tuition, home renovation, vacation loans, emergency medical expenses, purchasing a vehicle, and for business expansion loans. Simplified Lending for simplified living. Call us today or find us in the R&D Plaza on JFK Drive.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. It's the mid-show. I'm so happy that you stuck with us. I'm Tamika Cartwright, and we had a wonderful first half of the show talking with the team there from St. Barnabas about their grief and dementia seminar that's going to be coming up, so be sure to take a look at that. We've got another great half of the show. We've got the team here that's going to be talking about bullying in schools and the legal aspects of that, so that's very, very important. You want to stick around with for that. We also have the National Training Agency. We'll be taking another look at that, and it's Lent, so we'll be talking to Father about Lent as well. well. But before all of that, let's take another look at weather with Mr. Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Tammy. Good morning, Bahamas. Just second look at weather at sunrise. Weak frontal boundary on the Berry Islands, moving towards Providence, should move across New Providence by 8:30 this morning. One or two little spotty showers, a couple of banded clouds, but it'll be becoming partly sunny and breezy by afternoon behind that frontal boundary, where those winds will start decreasing this afternoon. In the marine forecast today, northwest to north winds, 15 to 25 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet on northwest Bahamas along that frontal boundary, decreasing after frontal boundary passes this afternoon, 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet. West-northwest, west-southwest at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet. Or the central and southeastern islands, but those winds vary northwesterly, 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet by evening on the central Bahamas. On Saturday, those winds light and variable, seas 1 to 3 feet over all the islands. Then on Sunday, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over all the islands. Yeah, tides. You can have a low tide at 7:31 this morning. Next high tide will be at 1:24 this afternoon. Low gain this evening at 7:18. Sunset 7:21 this evening. Rising more at 7:12. UV index 7. Your water temperature 76 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon fade now moving towards the last quarter. Your extended look, that weak cold front passes through the day, should dissipate sometime tomorrow over the southeastern islands. High pressure builds the islands. You'll have some windy conditions at first, but then those winds die off for the weekend, becoming light and variable. The seas will be subsiding, but we still have some swells up to 6 feet over the North Atlantic exposure. The temperature daytime will be around in the upper 70s, at nighttime in the mid upper 60s. That puts a far look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Tammy.
Welcome back. Lent is a 40-day period of spiritual preparation in the Christian liturgical year, starting on Ash Wednesday and ending on Holy Thursday, leading up to the celebration of Easter, focusing on prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. With me now is Father Roderick Bain, rector at St. Barnabas Anglican Church. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, my dear. Good morning, Bahamas.
All right, so it's a pleasure to have you on, and we are talking about Lent. So tell us, what is Lent? Just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Lent is a spiritual period, a spiritual space, organized, of course, by the Church. The Church, in its wisdom, decided that in order for us to appreciate the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, we need a period to kind of get ready for it. Any big event in the life of the Church's calendar, the liturgy of the Church, as a calendar of different events of the life of Jesus. The birth of Jesus, the incarnation, of course, a big, big event in our historical lives, in our salvation history. The birth of Jesus, the death of Jesus, these are big events. So the preparation for the big events need a preparation period. The preparation period for the incarnation or the birth of Jesus is Advent. The preparation period for the death, crucifixion, resurrection of Jesus Christ is Lent. It's almost as if the Church, in its wisdom, had said, people need to take this seriously and they need to prepare to take this seriously, because you have to kind of relive a lot of the great events, the great mysteries of the Church. And the resurrection of Jesus Christ at Easter, we cannot fully appreciate it in just normal times, meaning we're just going through the days, it's Easter, yay, we have a good time. We need a period to contemplate what salvation history is all about, what Jesus accomplished while he was on earth, and how he speaks to us in our spiritual lives. We don't just go along in a kind of a surface way, but now Lent intentionally says, in order for us to appreciate what salvation is, let's take a deeper look at ourselves, our souls, and our journey through life. So it's a kind of a deeper introspective look intentionally for us to realize that we are not the best version of ourselves. We've become corroded in many ways, and we find ourselves at a worse state because we have allowed a lot of the trappings of the world to become attached to us. And if we look in our mirrors, we'll probably be a bit uglier than we should be, not physically, but at our souls. So Lent says to us, let's get our souls clean. Let's make sure that things are in a better space so we can appreciate what Jesus Christ did for us. In a spiritual way, it lets us see that if we clean house, then the true salvation and the power of Easter will be more effective when the real love of Christ comes into our lives. So we use Psalm 51 in particular, create in me a clean heart, O Lord, and renew a right spirit within me, as a kind of a theme, a spiritual theme, to make us, as it were, to go to God. We can clean up ourselves somehow, with self-help books and meditation and perhaps going to counseling and all these different type of things. But that's not enough. We need deep cleaning. Lent is for deep cleaning. And it's really some soul work. We go deep into ourselves. And we realize that naturally there are some natural proclivities that we have. We call them sins. But some things we like to do. And most of it, as they say, 99% of it, is caused by our pride. If we're true and honest with ourselves, we'll know that pride, our own pride, causes our own fall and cause us to sin. And all of us have our peculiar sins. You may like to steal. I may like to cheat. You may like to, drink. I may like to eat. So it's a whole lot of different things that people are inclined to do because sometimes it's all about satisfying flesh and not satisfying spirit. Lent says, let's neglect the flesh, subject the flesh, bring the desires of the flesh under subjection. And that's why some people say they'll not do certain things for Lent. But the whole art of spirituality as it relates to living a life from the soul is to make sure that you have quelled the desires of the flesh to such a space and place where you don't just live because of the flesh, you're now living from the soul. And to be able to live from the soul, that is an art in our Christian walk. And that is what Lent is really trying to get us back to. So that when the joy of Easter comes, Easter is supposed to bring all the joy and the hope and the love, bring it in a fullness and abundance. Then we can truly be the good Christians, the Easter people, the risen people that we should be. And if we don't take it seriously, we'll just go along with the same old every year. No preparation, no anything.
I love that, and I love how you said, it's a time to be intentional, it's reflection, you know what I mean? It's a time to really look at yourself in the mirror and address some of those things. So for you, what do you find that some practices that people do during Lent? What are some of the things that you could see people doing around this time?
Well, as church, we put on extra services. We do mission services and Stations of the Cross and these type of things. It is intended spiritually, yes. But in a kind of a socio-religious way, people tend to do traditional things. They will not drink for Lent. Some people will not sweetheart for Lent, believe it or not. They will not smoke for Lent. They'll not watch TV, not use their phone so much. They're for TikTok, and not, a whole lot of things they do just to say they're trying to quell their spirit, quell their desires, and put a hush to their their fleshly desires. They may not eat sweets. They may not eat red meat. Those things, the intentions of those things are good, but in itself, sometimes people take it overboard. And Jesus warns of these things. Be very careful what you do when you do what you're doing for the outwardness and the show of it. So if you have to go around and say, I don't use WhatsApp for Lent because I'm fasting from that, nobody needs to know what you're doing when you do what you do. It's something you're doing just between you and God. But I always want people to be serious about what they're doing. And I say to people sometimes that if you can take it off, or if you can not do with it for 40 days, then I think you don't need it at all in your life.
Yeah.
In fact, I tell people put or take on something in terms of spirituality or virtues. Be more loving, be more kind, be more considerate, be more generous, spend more time with people, find ways to be more, instead of pulling back. You pull back on the fleshly desires, you be more of your spiritual self.
I love that. And what's some advice, because we're just about out of time, but what's some advice that you can give individuals that, that are going through Lent and they're thinking, I need to take a closer look at myself. Maybe they're having difficulties with that, right? Difficulties giving up some of the worldly desires. What advice would you give to those individuals?
Very good. Very timely. Well, Jesus himself was tempted, and we all will be tempted. We live a life of temptation. To be human is to be sinful. To be sinful is to be human. We cannot get out of it. You'll always be tempted. It is to stick firm and hold fast, of course, to biblical truths, to always be near Scripture and know what the Scripture is saying to your life, and to always want to and desire to please God in whatever it is that you do. Yeah. Temptations will come, and you will have your trials and conflicts. As long as you are a human being, you're not immune from no trials or conflicts or temptation. Yeah. The best of us, all of us, will be tempted. It's not that we're tempted, but how well we are able to overcome our temptations, because there's another one coming down the road. But you must be aware of what is happening in your spiritual life, and that is what Lent does for us. It makes us very aware of the space that we have, that is life, and the temptations that arise, and how Jesus helps us with it all.
Well, I mean, this was an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We wish you all the best as you go through the Lenten season as well.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Focall Holdings Limited is proud of its consistent growth and the financial success it continues to bring to many Bahamians who invest in the company. Focall is committed to ensuring optimal financial performance for its shareholders. Focall's leadership remains focused on superior customer service and operational excellence across all sectors. Focall, fueling growth for people.
For over half a century, we've been more than just an airline. We've been a bridge, connecting families, dreams, and memories across the islands and beyond. Behind every seat sold and every journey planned, there's a dedicated team committed to making air travel affordable and accessible to everyone. At Bahamas Air, we're not just building connections, we're building a safe and dependable airline where quality service is paramount and an excellent travel experience is our priority. Wherever you're going, we're here to take you there with care, with heart, and with the promise of unforgettable journeys. We are family, and just like family, we're committed to taking care of our own. Your Bahamas Air is our Bahamas Air, because here at Bahamas Air, we don't just fly here, we live here.
Man, I thought retirement would have slowed you down.
It's the island life, son. Living in paradise.
Must be nice. Can't wait until it's my turn, if that day ever comes.
My financial planner has provided me with solutions for my future. Pension, retirement, and even property management.
So who helped you with all this?
Let's go, son. Do my mouth.
What's Leno?
The Euro device is very affordable. It allows you to increase your internet connectivity. You are able to do away with the buffering, say goodbye to the dead spots. It gives them a much more stable connection. Their customers are able to view their digital menus. The establishment is able to stream. It allows for everyone, the customers and the business operators, to have a much more robust and stable internet connectivity.
While we welcome foreign investment, we need to find a way to ensure that local Bahamians, our children, and my grandchildren will have a way to purchase and remain here, not be pushed on the side.
Welcome back. This morning we are joined by Miranda Adderley. She's a member of the Bahamas Bar Association, and Khalil Parker, KC, president at the Bahamas Bar Association, and they are here to discuss school policies surrounding bullying. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Good morning. Thank you for having us again.
I'm always excited to have y'all on, just so y'all know, okay? Because I mean, I feel like the topics are so timely. You bring the facts, which we love, right? Talking about the legal aspects of it. People want to know where they stand with these different topics. So I think it's really, really great having you guys on. So just tell us a little bit, just give us an overview of the school policy on bullying here in the Bahamas.
Well, one of the reasons we decided to discuss this was the #1 show on Netflix right now is a show called Adolescence, a 4-part series.
Oh my gosh, I watched it.
As you would recall, it tackles not only bullying, but it tackles young men and their lived experience and the traumas that they experience, and the fact that parents can live day in and day out with their children and not necessarily understand what is going on. And that translated, as you watch the program, into what is going on at the school and how the school handles issues between students. And it's a question for us. You know, your doctors talk about prevention, you know, lawyers also talk about prevention. And so one of the things that we would like to do is to discuss how you handle these situations, how you approach them to prevent things from escalating to a point where we're unpacking a tragedy.
Yeah. So I want to talk then, tell us so that people know what is bullying, because I mean, there's the subtle bullying, there's the silent bullying. What is bullying?
Well, I think that bullying can come in many forms. There could be the silent bullying where it's not as obvious, right? You're maybe in a classroom setting if you're a student and somebody is maybe forcing you to do their work or forcing you to cheat or give them your answers. Then it can be the outright bullying. A lot of issues now I'm hearing from children are about fat shaming. Maybe children who are a bit heavier or obese are being embarrassed because of that, being called fat to their face or excluded from maybe like the group because of their appearance. So sometimes it's overt and then sometimes it's more passive. But in any event, it does affect, I think, children's and even as adults, we see it all the time on social media where because you're on social media and you can hide behind a screen, all sorts of strangers may come under your post or your story saying things about you or towards you, which could also be deemed as bullying, which I think when we were growing up, we didn't have to worry so much about the social media aspect of it. But now that can be very big too. And students and teenagers especially are on these social media platforms and putting themselves out there to a public of persons they may know or may not know who can come and just type all sorts of mean and hatred and rude things for the public to see even. So there are many different ways I think that bullying is happening today.
Yeah, but and I think, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, so I think one of the things too that's important for people listening to know is that bullying is repetitive. Right, it's that repetitive behavior. It's intentional. It's when the individual that's the bully wants to kind of gain power and control over someone else. Because sometimes you have kids in school that are learning about this new word, especially younger ones coming up that learn about this new word bullying. And suddenly it's if Johnny doesn't give me a crayon, he's mean, he's a bully, or if someone says a mean thing to me. But it's repetitive. It's consistent. It's when the other individual feels a sense of fear, either coming to school or in that space. Right.
Bullying is about well-being. It could be because you're beautiful. It could be because you're smart. It could be because you're fast. It could be because you're slow. It could be a myriad reasons. One of the things that you to define bullying is it's sort of a moving target. But the idea is that as an individual, you want to be able to articulate yourself. You want to be able to move through the spaces that you have to move without having somebody assault your well-being. Bullying could be about trying to make you feel bad, or it could be about trying to make myself feel good. And as Miranda said, bullying used to be contextual. I had a school bully, I would have a home bully, you could have a neighborhood bully, you could have a church. And so when you and I think that understanding the fact that people hyper-identify with their digital selves, the fact that you're always there, always open, always connected means that the fact, you don't have a teacher in the room online. You don't have a teacher so the point is to drill down and to understand that we have to invest in the things that make our children safe, but we also have to communicate with them. And I think that as Miranda was indicating, when you are in a situation of control, just like parents have responsibility, the school has a responsibility to understand the wider context. And the way you handle a situation can either help to resolve it or exacerbate it and compound the trauma.
And escalate the situation. And I know I've had situations with parents complaining about, their children being bullied, and they wanted to go on the campus and go directly to these students who
Yeah.
are bullying their children.
Yeah.
So we want to say that's not the right thing to do. You know, we say that any complaints really that you have or concerns that you have about your child being bullied should be addressed to the school. Now, that's where the school needs to come in to have very stern, serious repercussions and policies and transparency regarding the process of if a complaint is made regarding bullying, because we don't want it to be where the schools are just sweeping it underneath the rug and are ignoring it, or these complaints are just sitting for weeks and weeks while the behavior is continuing within the school, within the students who have to come to school every day. And some students are afraid to come to school every day. So if the school isn't showing that they have a strong policy and strong reaction, and things are being dealt with in a timely manner, then like in the criminal justice system, people feel as if they will deal with justice in their own way, and they will take it in their own hands and go on the campus and maybe approach students or and their children still. So I think the schools need to be very clear about what their policies are, the steps to take if your child is found to be bullied, or if there is a complaint that your child may be the bully. Because it is almost like a cycle. Sometimes it's not the bully, your child is not the bully in the beginning, but then because of whatever they've been going through, provoked, or they have been bullied themselves, then they become the bully. Or a child that normally wouldn't, you would think this person has an awesome character and a calm spirit, and then you hear this report that all of a sudden they were in a situation with another student where it became physical, and you're like, no, can't be. But it was because for a long period of time, that child might have sat silently and just took it and took it and took it until the point. So again, we just want schools to be more clear, more transparent.
Yes, and the fundamental, the legal context and the policy issue is that the single greatest contact, in my view, that the government and a society has with the young people is the school system. And so I don't want principals and teachers aides to think that we are pouring all of the responsibility for society on them and they have to do all of these things alone. It is important when we talk about policies and guidelines that we properly resource these institutions to handle the complex world that we are facing today. So it's not just a teacher in a classroom or a principal, it's about creating safe spaces in these places for children to feel comfortable to go and to articulate themselves and to shed light on what is going on and measuring the response. So I think that when we look at that context, we have to look at it as with a purposive approach, and to make sure that when children come to the school, they're properly socialized. So you have some societies where in lower school and primary school, you're teaching conflict resolution, you're teaching how to get along, how to communicate, and how to assert yourself, and how to be a citizen of the country that you're in. It's not just about math and English, and because if we can't expect it to be taught in the home, we have to expect that we're creating better citizens in the education system. We're teaching them how to be Bahamians. And so when we look at our educational program, we have to look at what we are trying to produce. If we're trying to produce better citizens, we have to look at what we are pouring into them. And so that is something that we say feeds into what comes out at the other end, at the matriculation and graduation and all of that.
Yeah, and of course, this doesn't end. I mean, we talk about bullying in schools because, of course, we want to protect those younger children, but bullying happens in the workplace as well, right? It can happen in the home with adults as well. Parents, one parent bullying the other. So, I mean, it's continuous, it's all around. So I want to talk a little bit about the legal aspect. At what point, I mean, what are the rights, first of all, and responsibilities of those individuals? And at what point do we have to seek someone else? You know what I mean? Because if we're at home and we're being bullying, what do we see?
Well,
What do we
it
do?
used to be said that your rights end at the tip of my nose, but that is more of a physical question. The world we live in, and particularly in the social media space, one of the things that's very prevalent now is character assassination. You have these WhatsApp bullies, and you have these people who believe that because they can send voice notes and they don't quote unquote care, that they can do whatever they want. And I think that as a society we have to determine where the line is, and I think that there is a place for policing in that space. You have a property right in your reputation. You have a right, just like you have a right to your interest in your physical possessions, you have a right to your personal reputation. And so we have to develop the policies and develop the position that there will be zero tolerance for certain types of behavior. And I think that we forget the the fundamental values of the village. You know, everybody's like, well, you know, we put up burglar bars, we close our gate, we don't care who's next door to us, don't talk to me, don't talk to my children. But if your children are allowed to leave your house and go to the food store and go to school and go to church, they are everybody's problem.
Yes.
So what you do to them, if they catching hell in here and they bring hell into the streets, we have to take a position that we will not allow that to be the case. And so when you ask about where's the line, that's somewhat subjective. Some people have a higher tolerance for things, and not everything is a crime. So there's something about your personal constitution. So there's a societal element as well as a legal element to the issue. Everybody, I think, understands physical intimidation, assault,
Yes.
battery. That's why I went straight to reputational issues, because reputational issues are when you get into law breaking, you know, public criminal libel and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, some of these people who are sitting home saying these things, you've worked hard to build your reputation. You're a national figure, and you have somebody who doesn't have two pennies to run together, talking you, dragging you down. And so the government, the police, the state should step in and make sure that people understand that in these spaces, you are not allowed to do whatever you want. And it requires investment.
Yeah.
All of the things we're talking about require investment, but what they require is us to collectively decide that this is the society we want, and to overtly state and continue to state and articulate that this is what we find acceptable, this is what we find unacceptable. The children watch what the adults do.
Yes.
If they see that we determine that there's zero tolerance for bullying, zero tolerance for violence, you know, you can't just carry on bad because you think you're the baddest man in town, then they will understand that that is not a way to be amongst themselves, but they mirror what they see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why conflict resolution is so important, especially starting in the schools, because what we learn in the schools, we take throughout our lives into adulthood. So we learn how to resolve conflict. Like I know some of the school policies, the zero policy means that if you're caught bullying, then you may be suspended. You're not allowed to come back to school. Right. But I think that the schools need to probably look at more social means in terms of like, what are the issues that are affecting this child, why this child is bullying other children or reacting in the way that they're reacting. And when you get to that core, maybe it's coming from some type of grief. Maybe they're going through some turmoil in the home. It could be parents are having issues. And then you get to the problem of maybe, you know, what's happening mentally, and address that, counsel them, you know, versus, okay, you're suspended for a week, and then you still come back a week later, the child with the issues affecting other persons in the school. Yeah. So I think the schools need to take a more holistic approach. I think parents always need to be a part of the conversation. Always. You're dealing with minors, you're dealing with juveniles, even in the criminal justice system, which we hope that it doesn't get to that point. Parents, guardians have to be involved in the conversation. A trusted person has to be involved in the conversation. I think schools need to take that same approach, be reactive. It needs to happen, you know, within a certain time frame. We don't want complaints to be lingering for 2 and 3 and 4 weeks. You know, it should be utmost attention, and support needs to be given, as Khalil said, to the school systems as well, to assist this issue of bullying, which is a big issue, you know?
Yeah, very, very important. I mean, it's always a pleasure having you both on. Very, very important conversation. Very, very timely. I mean, it's so much that these individuals are going through. Like you mentioned, cyberbullying is just another aspect. It can reach anybody, right? So, I mean, you can bully at the snap of a finger. You can be bullying an individual. So yeah, lots that parents have to do. Be very, very aware, obviously. You know. So I mean, great conversations with you both. Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you again for having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, all things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
African Things is your one-stop shop for everything African. Make a bold fashion statement with vibrant colors and intricate patterns inspired by the beauty of Africa. Find trendy contemporary looks for every occasion and enjoy custom tailoring. Shop jewelry, purses, art, cosmetics, and much more. African Things is located in the Dugard Plaza, Palmdale, next to McDonald's. Open Tuesday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come get your African Things.
Now, what's beautiful about Harbor Island is in 2019, a group of community leaders came together and they said, one of the challenges was human resources. And we said we wanted to be able to fill that gap and address that need. And so since 2019, you will see that we launched the Harbor Island Trade School, and we've run 10 cohorts in Harbor Island. We've been able to train 225 students to date with an investment from the Harbor Island community of $620,000.
That's going to do it here for us on Bahamas at Sunrise. We hope you enjoyed our segment today. So much wonderful information. It's been a pleasure being here with you. Be sure to be safe, be careful. I mean, watch out for those individuals that may be those bullies. Make sure that you take action with that. Be proactive as well. So if you know that someone is out there being bullied, or, you know, even if you are the bully, I mean, watch out. But if you know someone out there that's being bullied, be sure to be proactive. Make sure that you get help, seek advice, and, you know, just be kind to one another, right? Just be kind to one another. We'll be back. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great day, everyone.